the night. We will not vanish without a fight. We're going to live on. We're going to survive. Today, we celebrate our Independence Day.
The views expressed on the following broadcasts do not necessarily reflect those of KHLT, Take 12 Radio, or our affiliates. The opinions on this show should not be considered as medical, psychological, or professional advice and are those of the host, co-host, and guest. Take 12 Radio and KHLT Recovery Broadcasting are not affiliated with any particular 12-step fellowship.
You must surrender to the beat.
That's right.
Have some hope and get up on your feet. Keep your faith in the right direction. Search your soul and gain reflection. Come on, people, do the Buddha boogie with me.
Welcome to Buddha Time. Step up to the front of the line. This is a space where real stories meet real growth. This is where you'll hear from the people who are doing the work, showing up and finding light in the everyday grind. These aren't headlines. These aren't sidelines. These are soulful, down-to-earth conversations with people who inspire change on the front lines of life, recovery, healing, and community. So slow it down, tune it in, and find your own front line because it's Buddha time. And now, here's your host, Tommy Buddha.
Have some hope and get up on your feet.
Look at him there.
Moving and grooving, baby.
Wow.
Buddha time.
Buddha time. What the heck is going on, buddy?
Man, I'm so grateful. I'm so happy I'm here. This is the beginning of something very special for me, being able to share the positive experiences and my great friends. That's real important to me.
I got to
very
tell you,
happy.
Take 12 Recovery Radio and KHLT Recovery Broadcasting, we are so excited to be able to be a part of this thing with you, Tommy. You and I met at the 12-Step Music Fest in the Florida Keys years ago with Don Wilder and the gang putting on that thing. And we hit it off back then. We hadn't seen each other in quite a while, and we picked up right where we left off. And now we're doing Buddha time. What is this all about, bud?
Well, let me do it with the story that I told today, so that might be able to introduce where my head is at. And the story I told today, because I want to tell a positive story every time I'm here, something that I picked up on or researched and found. And I found the story of an 8-year-old boy named Liam Hernandez, and he is in Arizona. And it was 115 degrees in Arizona. And he decided, because it was so hot, he saw the seniors in his neighborhood couldn't afford air conditioners. So what did he do? He opened up a lemonade stand, and he decided to raise money. And his goal was $100. Well, some newspaper picked up the story, and he raised $12,000. So then what happens? He partners, check this out, he's 8 years old. He partners with a nonprofit, and he decides with the $12,000 to buy 150 air conditioners and then, some fans, and he gave these air conditioners out to his neighbors.
Wow.
And in every one that he gave away, he wrote a note saying, hey, you are loved, stay cool. That kid is going to change the world. He is going to make such a difference in this world. I want to meet Liam Hernandez. But this is what this is all about. It's about creating that type of community, meeting guys like Liam Hernandez, people that do things because they see there's a problem in their community. They decide to step up and do the next right thing. And now I used to go to a meeting in the Bronx, and there was an old man, like they used to go around the room, they say, why are we here? And he used to say, because we're not all there. right?
Right.
And that's why we're here, kind of, sorta. But that's not the reason that we're here. We're here to make a difference, to make a change. And years ago, I wrote this book by a gentleman. I didn't think his last name was it was Alan Dershowitz or something like. I can't remember the name, but it's called Change or Die, right?
Yeah.
And I'll get his name. Um, Change or Die, and it talked about how the most important thing in change is support, right? And most people struggle to change, okay? And if when they have support, and he has all the statistics that the average bear, the average person struggles, but with support, we can all thrive. And that's what I want to do. I want to build a community that helps organizations and people that are out there on the front lines doing the work, and there's a lot of them out there that need help and support,
Yeah.
networking, funding, whatever it is. So let's
Yeah.
tell the stories.
Yeah. You
That's the
betcha.
idea.
You betcha. All for it. So speaking of change, I mean, I read this in the bio of our first guest. And by the way, happy Independence Day, everybody. It's interesting, and I did not plan this, but for those of you who don't know, the little ditty at the beginning, right? That was from the movie Independence Day, right? Where we're winning the war against the aliens, right? And interestingly enough, the opening line in the bio of our guest for our first show says, "I grew up feeling like a 4,000-year-old alien in a child's body." We're going to talk about that and everything. But who is this character we got on the camera here, Tommy? Who's this guy?
Well, let me say, I could tell you about a million stories about this guy. We know each other for a while. STATiC. I was just talking before you came here, STATiC. I was talking about how if we could probably stay here for days talking about the things we've done in recovery and in helping people and doing things. But he's a person that I know and I met through the music world, and I met him. Actually, we met in Queens, right? We met in this organization where we were both working together, and we were working with this program called Road Recovery, which we still do work with. And I met him. I didn't know much about his music, but I know that he played every instrument. I know he has his own recording studio. I know all that stuff about him. And then through time, I've learned so many more things about him, about what he does in the world. And that's what we're here to talk about. All those things: the music, the world, and his contributions in many different ways.
Great. So we're really looking forward to that. STATiC, welcome aboard. We're going to get deeply into what's going on with you and some of the influences you have. Listeners are going to be listening to a song which is typical for Take 12 Recovery Radio at the end of the show, and STATiC's going to explain that. So we're going to get this little break out of the way right now so we can jump right into this. So don't go away, my friends. Check this out. We'll be right back with Buddha Time with Tommy Buddha.
You're tuned into Buddha Time with the Monty Man and Tommy Buddha. Step up to the front of the line and we'll be right back.
Hey there, my friends. Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's show, a production of the world's oldest recovery talk and recovery music radio station, Take 12 Recovery Radio. But did you know that we have thousands of archive shows, recovery workshops, and recovery music, all available for you for fun and for free? So here's an idea. Right after this show, visit our website at take12radio.com and subscribe on any of the podcasting platforms listed there. Why not begin enjoying the best in recovery talk and recovery music, all at take12radio.com on your internet dial. show. For those of you who have never met me, which I cannot imagine, I am the Monty Man. I'm the producer and owner of Take 12 Recovery Radio and KHLT Recovery Broadcasting. We are well into our 21st year of doing this stuff. And one of the most positive guys that I have ever met in my journey of broadcasting, podcasting, and the like is Mr. Tommy Buddha. And when we got together here not too long ago and started talking about doing a brand new podcast that focused on the positive and supporting people that are out there on the front lines, Buddha Time, well, it just kind of appeared. And here it is, launching forth our debut show on July 4th, Independence Day, with Tommy right there. And he's going to introduce our guest for our very first show of Buddha Time. Take it away, buddy.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. It really doesn't matter, right? Somebody's someplace at the same time. All right, so right now, I got my good friend here, STATiC. We met in New Jersey first. We're in New Jersey together, but originally we met in Queens, working for an organization called Road Recovery. Do you remember that, STATiC?
We
I
just
don't hear
lost
you.
you.
All right.
There you go.
I'm still learning the microphone. If you tap it, it has this auto mute feature. So I'm supposed to be an engineer and I can't use my own microphone. So yes, we met in Queens at the program that we helped with way back in I want to say that was either 13 or 14, maybe 2013, the fall of 2013. And that was early on. I wasn't in the same room as you, but we were doing that together. And then you popped into New Jersey a few months or a year later when you moved to New Jersey, I think.
I actually met you before that, but I didn't really meet you. I knew who you were. We were doing a concert at the Nokia Theater,
True.
which was the first time that you performed at that particular concert. We had a whole bunch of people. What was it? Their 10th year anniversary for Road Recovery?
So that was the first time they did the concert, and we were on all of them, but there was a lot of people on that, and that was a collection of some of the music industry support that Road Recovery receives, and people bringing awareness, as well as the youth that they help with their program of performing, and then other supporters as yourself. But that was prior to me even thinking I needed to change anything about my life. I mean, I was behaving when I was there out of respect of the concert and its cause, as the whole band was, and we are very connected to Road Recovery prior. But then when it became my reality, I was like, oh, at least I'm in the right place.
So you weren't always the healthy guy that stands before us now, huh? What's going on there?
I mean, I definitely had other ways I thought I was being healthy, but there was definitely some practices and things that were eventually going to make me realize I needed to make a major change. And yeah, I was the first time we met Buddha, I guess that was 2008, or if you were on that one in March, it was around, or March, it was around that time, 2008. And, I was functioning. I didn't think I was in trouble at that point, but I actually tried 2 times prior to get sober. Believe it or not, the year you started this show was my second time trying. I think you said 2004. It was almost 21 years you started this show.
Yeah.
So, and then another time in 2001, but I didn't know why I was doing it. I just thought whatever I was doing wasn't working, but I didn't know there was help. I didn't know there was support. I thought I was alone, and I thought I was okay after 11 months and picked up pace, but it all came to an obvious needed change in 2012. And from that point on, I ran towards anything I could that connected me to the different way of life, with all of it, recovery, the program that sometimes helps majority of us, and then becoming available for serving inside and outside. And then that's how, Tommy, you and I got to spend more time together, because when we were called upon by Road Recovery to help bring our experience through facing adversity in general to a group of youth, I went there running, and I was I was 9 months sober, but just running in it at that point. I was like, I'm going. We're running towards, 2013. That might have been a year and a half sober. I was running towards it just to be available, to be useful. Because my first sponsor always said after every phone call, hey, be useful, not self-important. I took that real serious.
Yeah,
And
Road
then,
Recovery brought us together. At
mhm.
the first time you were playing with Hours, which is the band that you were
Oh, on the
touring with.
stage show, yeah, every
Yeah,
show was with Hours. Hours has a history with the founders of Road Recovery, just old music industry relationships, and then doing good for others, continuing that relationship, and then passing it on to me in the sense of when I knew I was changing that, I went to them at one of our shows that, hey, I've been, clean and sober over a year now. They're like, hey, you got to come talk to the kids. I was like, is that what I do? They're like, yeah, that's what you do now. I was like, okay. It was just, I needed it. I was 30, almost 35 years old, and
right.
nothing else worked. So I finally listened. I listened to be, when they told me to listen. My way didn't work. So when they said, that's what you do, you go talk to the kids. I'm like, okay, I go talk to the kids. They go, what do you talk about? They go, anything that connects them to that there could be another way of living, another way of doing something. There's not only just one way. And that's when I connected my own childhood and my own stuff with learning and whatnot. So
I
Static, can
wanted
you
to
be
touch on that.
specific? Can you? Yeah, I was going to say, can you be specific about road recovery just for a minute? Is this like inner city children, or
okay.
are these kids that are just
So
don't have the funds, or what's going on here?
road recovery's had many forms of many types of people they have reached, but the initial concept is serving youth that are facing any adversity. So it's not always even a matter of privilege or not privilege, or because in the beginning they were dealing with maybe some young people that were coming out of a more direct connection, like say a rehab. But then as they grew and realized adversity is adversity, and then also adversity might be very much in underserviced areas, and they bring a message of unity and empowerment and essentially finding their voice, whatever their voice is. We're not guiding their voice in the sense of influencing it. And then the fact that it is music industry professionals originally, then all arts, acting and dancing, letting it be a form of expression. It's not even about being really good at the instrument, if that's what you want to do. It's about kind of how do we come together as a group, look each other in the eye, and just make that noise together and just find that confidence that maybe a young person doesn't have due to possibly not having great, maybe adult role models, or having great education system, or just having something that caused them to maybe not trust the message that maybe came from good mentorship, which would be people who are now trying to walk the right path and happen to have that little musical thing going on, could be that example. We are not teachers. We're not above them. Just the same way that any of us who experienced a recovery program, we're shoulder to shoulder sitting in a circle. I might have just been around a little longer than somebody else, and somebody's around a little longer than me, but their message is valid no matter where, as long as it's towards a solution.
It's also about teaching people comprehensive life skills, things that to get along, build self-esteem, uh, get in front of people, perform. A lot of these kids are not the talented kids that you'll see at a school, right? So you'll find kids there that don't have talent, but they get up and they express themselves, and that changes them completely. That's the whole goal of road recovery,
Wow.
to not only get them to play their song or do whatever, but to be able to express themselves and grow and learn how to get along with people.
Is it
There's a lot of
primarily
miracles.
music, or is there other arts involved as well?
Whatever is available by the mentors that are around. I
Yeah.
mean, writing, poetry. There's times we've done film. There's times they've done dance. We had someone cooking, because I consider cooking an art. I always kept saying it. I'm like, it could be cooking too. I express myself with food. And all of a sudden, sure enough, someone starts baking. I'm like, wow, it's a win-win. And fashion, like anything that's an expression, and then where they have a staff to support it. Because most of the staff is comprised of entertainment industry professionals that have faced their own adversity, are comfortable enough talking about it, using that sense of connection and vulnerability to show that someone else that it's okay. We start it with a peer support group, check in with everybody in a circle, and then we get down to the explanation of what we're going to do, which we call the business meeting, a functional one for anyone else that knows about the other business meetings that we have been exposed to. And then after that quick thing, we get down to the action of actually just doing, the creating, the experiencing, and it's all connected, because that check-in, especially when you got someone like Tommy around, he's listening the whole time, because Tommy's gift is, I mean, you got a lot of gifts of gab. You have gifts of gab, you have gifts of song, gifts of wordsmithing and lyrics. So when Tommy's there, he could take someone through singing a song or just writing their feelings on paper, because that kind of connects. Some people might just want to write something and never bring it to the stage. So we'll just either artistically take a picture of it or read it for them. So,
Wow.
but he pulls a lot of that information from what is said by the young people. My role is a little different because I'm just like the score artist. I'm listening to who's fidgeting, like who's tapping on the table, and I'm like, oh yeah, I get that. That's me. So hey, let me bring you to the drums now. We could tap and make it functional. Or once the ideas start coming, me and some of the other staff that have more of the instrument experience will connect either with young people to show them that they could be a part of the music, or just provide the music backing to the story. And then we're just there, just trying to have an amazing experience and show them that everything's okay. Your feelings are valid. Your life experience is valid, and there's a way to not hold on to that forever. You're not alone. And the main message that Road Recovery leans on is the power of we. It's very much connected to the short form of the mission.
We go in as one and come out as a group. We come out together, because putting a show is very difficult. Putting a show together is very difficult, and that's a skill. Again, comprehensive skill. One of the things you mentioned before, and you talked about the ADD, and this is another thing that I think about with this show and where my head is at with recovery. We're all in recovery from something. Right? Everybody's got a problem,
You bet.
and me and STATiC, we identify because we both grew up with learning disabilities, and I think later in my recovery, I discovered how much that had played a big part in my addiction. What happened with you? I know that this is a big part of yours as well.
Well, when I was in school, they still didn't know what was going on, but they gave me a little bit of an observation to say, like, I told them it was a difference in learning abilities right at the gate, because I had to fight the whole time till high school to show them that something else wasn't right, but I could do it. And then they would treat me different. Like, you can't do it. It's like, well, there's that back and forth. So when it finally came around to it back then, so I'm born, speaking of Independence Day, I'm a bicentennial baby born in 1976. Thank you. And I'll turn 50 when the nation turns 250.
Wow.
Thank
And
your parents, really.
I'll thank my parents. And they had good timing. And by the time I was in high school, it was the early 90s, and it's just, education wasn't designed to be aware of all aspects, except that people actually learn different. So I already knew about learning differently. So I wasn't really down with the word disability, because I was already wired to fight, because they were telling me for so long about the resistance. So I just said, it's a difference in learning abilities. And I was really angry about the time they finally said, well, we get it now. I was a sophomore in high school, but till then I was considered lazy, didn't apply myself. And the brilliance of that child study team, they looked at me and said, hey, we realize that you might have slipped through the cracks because you had a way to compensate and cope with all those difficulties in your learning. You would really help you going down to one of the classes where kids are really struggling more than maybe you are, and helping them. They've already dropped this little fuel of what would become essentially why I'm able to even be here today and actually really live a great life. They were putting me to work in a good way, in service, to take my experiences and the strengths I might have pulled out of it to help someone else with that coping method I did for some kind of memorization tool, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, I was already using and drinking and I was self-medicating. I lead a lot of groups now, and I basically describe it as I was self-medicating, treating something that I didn't even know I needed to treat. It doesn't diminish the fact that I do identify as an alcoholic and an addict. Once I found out years later what these things might have been, it doesn't make it like, oh, I guess that makes, like, I guess I'm not this. No, I'm alcoholic and addict. But part of what drove me to that is the need to self-medicate something I didn't know was going on. Fast forward, within the last 3 years, I was never diagnosed with ADHD or autism. And that really was mind-blowing in my mid-40s. And I would change nothing at this point because I'm glad I'm here. But yeah, that's the connection. Buddha and I have a lot of fun similarities too. We're born the same month, not the same year, but we're both born year of the dragon. His is 24 years before mine. And our sober month is the same week.
March.
It's like, how does this happen?
Wow.
Not the same year again. Obviously, there's distances. But And then we had this learning thing and the music thing and the ability to communicate with anyone that may feel there is a struggle going on. There's a solution. That's the thing that I really took away from really listening, and where a lot of the program took me was I really took on the mission of outside of the rooms. Yes, I do the inside of rooms part, but they said practice it inside and outside the rooms. There's actually messages in there that says this could work for everyone, depending on how we carry it and we do it through our actions. I'm like, oh, so this just guides my life and allows me to.
One of the sentences in the book that, in the NA book says we carry the message to the potential addict. Well, what does that mean? That means everybody, right? Because everybody's a potential addict.
Yeah,
Everybody has the ability.
everybody's got a tail wagging the dog, right?
100%.
I love that.
In something,
Yeah.
I knew a lady up the road here, a piece about 14 miles south of Albany, Oregon, and a little tiny country town, and she bit her fingernails until they bled. I mean, it was very compulsive. She was self-harming is what she was doing. And she actually applied the principles, in the 12-step program, to that. And she lives free from that today. But somebody might have said that maybe in a traditional 12-step meeting somewhere, and somebody might have poo-pooed it, right? So, yeah, but that's just another form of being normie. They're not like us. Nah, we're more alike than what we want to admit sometimes. Don't you guys think?
I fully agree. That's why we have all those other letters now in front of an A for people who need it.
Right.
Well, I've been talking about this the other day with somebody. The only thing that changes, there's a 12-step program for everything, right?
At this point, yeah.
For everything. So, like, if you're an addict, it says addiction. If you're an alcoholic, it says alcoholic. All they do is take one word in step one.
Yeah.
And they change it. So that means the 12 steps work for everybody. The same 12 steps that work for the alcoholic work for the gambler, or work for the sex addict, or work for, whatever, the overeater. We're all the same. And that's one of the things with road recovery and any of the other programs that I've worked with in the past, is I believe everybody's in recovery. So I never really go in there as an addict or an alcoholic or whatever. We're all in recovery, and we're all in recovery from something. What is it? Trauma? Did something happen to you in your life? That you're using over? So that's the important thing that ties us all together. No labels, no tribes. We're all recovering from something.
Yeah. So I think once we take the focus off the symptom and look at the causes and conditions, then we find that we're all in the same boat. Because the symptom might be, the abuse of alcohol. The symptom might be pornography. The symptom might be overspending. The symptom might be biting your fingernails, whatever. What's going on? It's an outward manifestation of an inward condition. And what I found is that the inward condition is pretty much the same. We got this God-shaped hole that we're trying to fill with our own intellect and our own wisdom or whatever, and we need a spiritual renewal. And that's what the 12-step programs do such a beautiful job of, if they're followed the way they were written.
Yeah, and connecting to the spiritual malady, just like Dr. Jung cited with Roland Hazard. Without that, I'm not sure what would be happening with us. And the proof to me, beyond all the other proof that we cited, is the programs that were created off of it for the people that were affected by people that I'm an alcoholic and an addict. So yeah, I'm the person that has affected someone else's life. And that program is using the same idea, where a lot of people that go to those adjacent programs can't point at one thing at all. Their experience is being around people like me in active use, and they're using the same tools. And I don't want to leave out the fact that everything I mentioned up to this point about we run in, we do this, I try to make sure I'm doing this outside of the rooms. It's not me though. I cannot do this if I don't report to duty every day and ask for the guidance from the power that's greater than me, which I'm fine with the word. I use the word God. That's my version of it. And that's the difference. Because by nature, the people know me most of my life. I wanted to be helpful. but why was I being helpful? What was I trying to get out of it? And now it's like, should I be helpful right now? Should I be running into this particular program with this group of people? Should I be available to use and practice what I've been taught? And that just makes it seem like I'm not using my own brain again, because this has not taught me to trust my brain. I trust my gut now, and I know how to connect my heart to my decisions. But my brain is still something that's open for collaboration. If I'm really confused, I'm calling Tommy. And now I got your number. I'm calling you. We have to work that way. But my heart and my gut, my spirit and my connection, well, I don't need my brain to follow the guidance that's presented to me.
You know, it's funny that you talked about the higher power, and I think that's something that we connected. And during COVID, we were working together, and we had an experience that really took us in a completely different direction that brought us a lot of places. But can you talk about
And our
that a bit?
experience was actually reading about the experience of a particular
Yeah,
person and founder.
right.
So at that point, Tommy and I had a few road recovery programs we were part of. We were traveling to New York City maybe 3 times a week at that point.
Wow.
We were and we were going to, of all places, Corona, Queens. I was working earlier in the city that whole week. This is March 2020. And the date that we got the phone call, I believe that's my sober week. And yours too, Tommy. So
Yeah, it was my week too.
Monday was my celebration on March 9th. So whatever Thursday would have been, 10, 11, 12, 13th. March 13th, we're supposed to go to Queens. Now, I've been in the city the whole week. It was really quiet there. It was eerie. And then the founder of Road Recovery, the 3 of us would all go together from my house in North Hale in New Jersey, we're all near New York City Metro. And that time he wasn't. He was going early. Tommy was coming. So Tommy is my porch at this point, and he gets a phone call. He's like, yeah, Gene saying we can't come in. They're closing the city. And
Wow.
so we just look at each other, and I go, all right. And obviously we enjoy being around each other. So he's at my house already. We've already been we've been friends for a while. At that point, Tommy, we even got called to different service, and we recorded the Christmas song for the
Right.
veterans event. So we if we're not going to go work in the city, we're just going to do something. We could play music. But I said, let me go make a pot of coffee, because why not? So I'm making coffee, and he comes out. He goes, "Where's that book of yours?" I'm like, "It's right there. Like, it's the blue one. You can recognize it." But I'm seeing a wise ass. And he's like, "Let me show you something." Because Tommy, and admittedly, you experience both programs and both literature at that point. But the one that I'm more from is a little newer, right? Is that what part of it is? Like, and you're like, "Here, let's go to Bill's story," and we're reading it. And at this point, and he didn't even know this, I don't think. Like, I'm not sure why it would have came up. I was very much disciplined and heavily compliant, but I didn't finish my steps. I'm not 2020, year 8 at this point. I did everything I could have done, I thought worked, going to meetings, being close with people in the program, taking the service calls, taking speaking commitments, book studies, but like not private ones, but like going to all the meetings,
Right.
and living it and having a better life than I did, but something was missing. And then we read this, and it gets to the part where his friend, Ebby, he's challenging him, pushing to drink. And what Tommy wanted us to get to is reading that part where Ebby just drops that nugget of, it could be whatever you want it to be. We're talking about this idea of God or higher power, or some sort of, the idea of relying on something that's not yourself anymore, which to the founder, Bill, at that point, that's insanity, the idea. But he has a moment. I'm reading this. Something just takes me over. Like, reading this, I was just so taken. Now, I've read that, I don't know how many times, 8 years, and I wasn't meeting shy. So it's like, it was what it was. And then I looked at him and said, I'm not sure if it was that day or within days. I said, like, I never really finished my steps. I'm like, step 4 freaked me out. And he's like, well, where I come from, that's called, you have a step 3 problem. But what he pulled from the shelf and had us read, which turned into us. I mean, we were in that book all night with a giant pot of coffee I make. And I guess that's what I realized. That was, I didn't have enough listening and allowing myself to say, I don't have to define it. It could be whatever I want it to be. Whatever my issues were, whatever my connection or lack of connection, or coming from an area where you have a lot of people say alcoholic and recovering Catholic, like whatever your upbringing is, whatever, it's our experience, and it will dictate until we allow ourselves to find it again. And that launched us. That launched us into solutions. Tommy called me within days. He's like, they fixed the meetings. It's called Zoom. Like, both of us didn't have Zoom yet. I still thought like video conferencing was only Skype. And
I remember that.
now,
Yeah.
granted, with the organization we were with, we were showing up to help that happen. But it was also connected to, we were already given a new rhythm. I was lit up now about this. And he immediately comes back with, we start going to meetings all over the world. Simple as that. It's the easiest way to say it. There's meetings everywhere. We're going places. We're like, where are we going tonight? I'm like, I think we're going to Santa Barbara at 9, and I got us to go to Marin County at 10:30 because nobody else at home. That's going on. And we get heavily involved in that. We're called upon to find a solution because our organization was all, New York City's closed. So there's like, we're done. We're shut down. And they're like, how can you guys come up with some ideas? So we did. And that's a longer story than maybe necessary, except for the idea that there was an amazing group of people who all have this connection to practicing principles for personalities, and knowing that the greater concept is, what happens to the kids if we don't show up? There was reality. Where's paychecks coming from? Yada, yada. They didn't even talk about gig workers even being able to accept anything yet. We were, that whole organization with us and everybody involved at that moment presented all these ideas. I was already getting into remote recording as my profession. Like, how can I record while I'm not with people? So I had that little background. We had a connection to a platform like Zoom or through a board member. And we just, everybody did what they had to do so quick that we never had to find out that gig workers could actually be taken care of if they needed to. We were working by April 1st with more programs than they've ever worked for before, because we presented a solution that was purely driven by serving the kids, with everybody's creativity and ability to act on the execution of an idea, like my recording background, but then Tommy's background to be able to mass communicate, and your previous work experience, which involves mass communication, literally. So and I don't have to mention everybody else's name, but everybody was equally effective in this. But while this is happening, sorry,
at that time writing, that's all right. At the time writing the song, and we recorded a song. I actually sent it.
That's right. We had to prove that we could be remote, and they said, can you do a song by how you're describing this program? It's like, yeah, sure, why not? I'm like, everybody sing in your phone, in your closet, because the clothing will absorb the sounds. Physically count me in so I could sync all the audio. Like, make sure you have an earbud. And we just did it. And that became how the program worked. But while this is happening, we're now going to all these meetings. We are so connected. And even, yes, we serve by showing up to a meeting. We serve by putting the coffee on. But now everybody's called upon to be a little different, even serving within our own 12-step programs, because we're on these online platforms where some of us might know everything about computers, and some people are still doing that thing where their phone is under their chin and you can see their nose hairs, but at least they're at a meeting. And
that's funny.
While this is happening in my own world with Tommy there together, going to all kinds of meetings, I get this idea. I'm like, hey, there's a meeting in Marin County. Some of the first people that helped me get to the program are in Marin County. Let's go to this Wharf Rats meeting. Well, here's the deal. I don't know what a Wharf Rat is. The Grateful Dead's not a band I like at all. I'm not mad at them. I appreciate the fans. It's not my world. So I have no idea. We're going to a Grateful Dead influence meeting with a group of people who love the Grateful Dead, who love being sober. So like the Grateful Dead or not.
They call God Dude, right?
Dude. Well, no, they call God God, but they allow a dude version of the Serenity Prayer.
Dude.
They listened to Conscious before. So now I'm like, what is going on? Where am I? But it's a meeting. So I'm like, well, I'm here. I'm that kind of person. If I walk in the meeting, I'm not going to walk out. I still think you're going to see me walk out. And I sit there. I'm like, oh, their recovery game is massive. I'm like, of course, this makes perfect sense. We have sober and clean deadheads, like with all the stigmas and stereotypes, and they're doing the opposite, right? So first meeting there, I share. Some guy goes, hey, kid, how long you been around? I'm like, 3 weeks ago, I celebrated 8 years. He's like, really? Because you haven't brought anybody through the book. I go, no. I'm like, I haven't finished my steps yet, so I can't. So like quick, to be honest. Like I was like, not that I had a problem, but it just came out. He goes, that's easy. Call me tomorrow. So now I have a deadhead sponsor. He's powering me through the book. 2 calls a week. getting
How are
finally to the
you through the book? I want to touch on that. Put a pin in there because I want to ask you a question about that. Go ahead.
Yeah. And his whole thing is this book is meant to be shown to somebody to show somebody else how to take somebody through it.
Amen.
That positioning right there is like, well, sorry. That positioning, that blew my mind. I'm originally from New York area. I sometimes have those languages. But I was like, whoa. I'm like, so I actually will only start really understanding this when I start showing it to somebody else. And he's like, yeah. He goes, good news, because I was step 4 is where I kind of balked, just like some of us have balked.
Sure.
Which I learned from Tommy that I had a step 3 problem, which thankfully that pot of coffee and closing the world down allowed me to have my moment of like reading about somebody else have their moment with the higher power. And he's like, all right, you got through my current sponsor. Like, you got through step 4. He's like, I got a gift for you. I'm like, you mean you got a gift for me? He's like, I found you somebody just like you. 5 years in, didn't do his steps. You're going to take him through the book while I continue to take you through the book. And we're going to tow each other along and you will be fine because you always got me. And then I start taking this other young guy through the book. And now I'm like, probably calling Tommy 4 times a day. Like, did you read this? Is this what it's like? And the experience, it's so much, was so life-changing. Like, just like the old school way, you have a sponsor now. That's newish. It wasn't the original way. I think it's amazing. I think it's an amazing practice, kind of necessary in many aspects of what they created. But that's not how it was in the beginning.
No.
The sponsor was a person who's actually the person who 12-step even brought you to the meeting. That's kind of like sponsoring someone into a union. Like, hey, I can tell you what this is all about. I'll bring you.
Right.
So the old method is, yeah, I did step 5 with my sponsor, but technically I could pick other people.
It's one alcoholic helping another. It doesn't say sponsor. It doesn't say, or one addict helping another. It's you're
exactly right.
Yeah. Oh,
So
yeah.
one gambler helping another.
One gambler or one whatever. Let me tell you,
One sex fiend helping another.
But it's that spiritual contract, right?
I got goosebumps. When you said power through, you know, I was, and I may have shared this with you pre-interview, but I was in the rooms. I was in the rooms of the 12-steppers for 3 years before anybody showed me anything other than reading the steps on the wall. And when it finally happened, it wasn't a step a month. It was in a weekend. I had a spiritual awakening as a result of that, and then I jumped right into taking somebody else through it. Yeah. And then it just morphed, and it kept going, and it kept going, and it kept going. And the freedom, I came into the rooms, a born-again, Bible-thumping, Bible college graduate guy who thought he knew it all, right? And I did the same thing. I read Bill's story. I learned about Evie Thatcher. I learned about Bill's grandfather. I learned all this stuff. And I just said, it was like, man, I had book knowledge, but I didn't have any heart knowledge. And all of a sudden I was free to stop trying to figure out God and just let God be the divine that he is. And when that happened, it opened up tons of service opportunities, and it's been the most wonderful thing that's ever happened in my life. And it's obvious to you, for you, Tommy, and for you, STATiC, that this is who you are now. This is your life now. You're serving other people. And the whole thing that runs through the NA basic text, the AA big book, the Celebrate Recovery workbooks, all that stuff is we are getting out of ourselves and we're helping other people. It's the common denominator, is it not?
Absolutely.
I fully agree. And I think it's helping others, but who's pulling us to help them, or what's pulling it? What acknowledgement of something that's not me? And that's the balancer that I really, really needed, because in my mind, if I was tasked with, say, music directing a big show, and I got 15 musicians I got to put together, and there's a venue, and say somebody's late, my first instinct is, what are you doing? Why are you doing this to me? Then all of a sudden I got tasked again after this whole situation, and 2 years later, and it happens, and I pause and I go, okay, there's no reason to get upset. We're all serving something so much bigger than me just being the boss of the band right now. We are serving an audience that is coming here to learn about helping kids, and the highlighted musician that I was providing music direction for. And also I was like, and now I don't have this massive, grandiose view of what a higher power is for me. I was taught it's whatever I think it is, and I like the few choices that I was able to take. I liked being an agent of my higher power. I report for duty, and no disrespect to anybody else's belief system, but it's literally Danny DeVito style person behind a cage in Taxi that I walk up to and say, "Where am I going?"
What are my marching orders today?
Yeah. In general, my overall heart and view and vibration now, it's not necessarily Danny DeVito, but
No, but I know what you're. I know what you're saying.
but it's that simple, right? They walk in, they go,
That's simple. And it is.
We're all here to serve somebody, right? And what we do, everybody is in service. If you have a job, you get paid to do a service. If you this is what we're built to do,
Yeah.
and if we do it with the love of, let God out, not God in, right? Let the God out of you. That's when you start to live a full life, because it's
Yeah.
about serving. Everybody's in service. So when you say you're preparing a show not to play the great music, but to carry this message and whatever it is, that's what we should all be doing, no matter what we're doing.
Dylan said it right. You got to serve
We all
somebody.
serve somebody.
You got to serve somebody. And I had a pastor friend of mine say, he says, "Monty, you're going to be." I said, "I'm not effective for anybody." I was singing the blues. He goes, "You're always effective, in one way or another. You're going to be effective. So you got to make a decision. You got to serve yourself, or are you going to serve God? It's just bottom line. Just what are you going to do?" And what I discovered, guys, I don't even come to the divine without his power in my life. I can't even make the approach. And it's so great because I don't have to measure up. I can just show up. As long as we're available, God will use our availability more than he will our abilities, don't you think?
I want
Fully.
to touch on one thing. Because of the time we have. You now do these groups, reframe, right? And
So
that's another area that you've gotten into.
yeah, there's a few things I ran towards. So the music never leaves me, and I was able to practice my principles and those affairs to change my whole relationship and experience with all life. But then we were obviously doing the road recovery thing. We still are. And anything that popped up, if it seemed like it jumped at me for a reason, there was a reason to go towards it. So there was a few other volunteer type things I felt like, okay, I get involved in that. And there was a friend of mine who has a company called, this is not Reframe yet, but it's a real quick setup to what got me there, called Fallen Raider Audio. I basically just saw this guy pop up through a mutual friend who built guitar effects pedals, but he did it because he came to this realization, it helped him with his own experience. So the founder, Buddy Lee Daubertine, was a Marine Raider during the invasion of Iraq and was catastrophically wounded in 2006, lost all hope, thought he didn't want to be here anymore. And he had a moment of awakening, but music. And then he went to a writing program, started writing songs, and found out that he changed the way he lived his life a long time ago too. And then he realized when he liked music, the equipment was expensive. So when he built it, the sensation of physically soldering and putting these pedals together changed everything. So he went and got all his friends that were going through similar experiences, and he started building gear. So he basically came up with a model of a company that's not a big company, but I'm just reading about it from a friend of a friend. And in his model, he talked to his own therapist to say, if I have guys that need help, like veterans, guys and gals, what would you charge? And they were saying, and this is all out in public. He's like, they're like $25. He's like, great. So I'll sell every pedal that's hand built by a veteran for $200, and $25 directly goes towards somebody's potential therapy if they need it session. And it's all, and I'm like, I'm blown away by this story of him. And I'm reading it and I'm realizing, I just kind of saw, I'm like, well, what can I do? And I'm like, is this something that became really important to me in life? And especially my older age, which is not older, but realizing that particular action in our recent history are literally my peers that I might not have known when I ran off to wear tight pants and play guitar. But I got the chance to run off, wear tight pants and play guitar because of these guys and girls who are now living in the suburbs with me in our mid-40s and are becoming friends. And I'm very aware of that story, and even my own family and the previous situations. But this is the first time it's across the table. So I go, how can I help? So the first thing I said was like, well, the pedals look cool, so let me buy those. And I didn't try to get them because the thing I was going to offer him was, I've done this professionally, demoing products for major corporations at trade shows and or for videos, and I could do video production. So I said, you know what, I sat there and I was like, and then I asked for guidance, and the answer was, the only way you could do this is buy the pedals, because I didn't want him to try to give me the pedals, and then make him the offer. So I got the pedals, I tried them out, made a few clips, sent him my resume, and he's like, I thought you were a friend of our mutual friend, and he's like, but I didn't realize this is what you do. I go, yeah. I go, here you go. Here's all your audio files. Let me know if you ever need anything. Wow. And that was really coming out of this whole thing of like, it's gonna pop up. So anyway, now that's happening. I'm on Clubhouse, or that platform that kind of popped up, holding a meeting with another mutual friend we met in a Zoom meeting. We still never met in person to this day yet. And we call it Spiritual Armor. Spiritual Armor was to be able to talk about recovery directly from the spiritual aspect of how this works. We play it on Spiritual Toolbox. But Spiritual Armor is that extra level of all the things we need to be able to engage the rest of the world when the rest of the world might be drinking. And why is that, or using? Because the real moment to help somebody is sometimes be able to walk into the fire.
Yes.
Yes, I'm happy to be at a meeting and somebody might need me, or I get to take them through the book, or any of that. It's all valid.
That's what
But
we're there for.
can I be there at the after party at a crazy concert I just played, and me being spiritually fit enough to actually be comfortable with my bottle of water while everything else is going on? Because there might be that one other person. Because I met that guy in my early 2 months of dryness before I knew there was help. I saw a guy drinking water, and I was like, that's strange. Let me go talk to him because I don't want to drink tonight. So I need to be that guy now. So all this Spiritual Armor stuff, we're having this meeting, and there's an app situation that it's hard to explain because it's not trying to be anything that it's not trying to be. It's not trying to also take people away from any other form of recovery. I know there's been other things out there that use, for lack of a better term, slander in the degrading or dismissing of other programs to make themselves look good. The only people who never do that seem to be whatever. Anyway, but they were creating a different resource. They created a resource of information, neuroscience, habit forming, direct coaching if people need it, and they were starting to have meetings. So somebody recruited me from there, and I went to meet with them, and now I'm like, I'll go talk to them, but I'm the person that gets excited when you show up to a tradition meeting, so I'm really, really kind of dialed into my traditions, like word for word. I said, well, let me go at least listen. There's something here. And they said to me, like, listen, we need people who could lead the peer support groups, not acting as professionals, even though it's a job. I go, okay, so it's a job. So I know that as long as I'm not doing the 12 steps themselves, I'm allowed to take work. And this is like being a road recovery. I'm using the principles. And then I said, well, here's the deal. I can't be here if I can't say my truth. Now, I practice my same principles of if I'm on a radio interview where I still haven't said the letters yet, so like I kind of, but I can still talk about my experience.
Absolutely. Anonymity does not mean secrecy.
Exactly. And there's one book that tells us we're obligated to set the story straight if the stories are presented wrong. That's something people forget about, that one. Yep. But it's a story of the program, not through me. Right. And then when I have the person in front of me, then I qualify my experience. So I was talking to people like Tommy and some other people I'm close with that some long time, and I explained to them how the environment is, the things that I won't be compromised on, and they said, well, you're actually getting a chance to walk into the fire again, because you're at people that their first experience might be finding this app that helps them focus a life without alcohol. And we use that language because not everybody is like me or anyone here. Not everybody's a hopeless variety. Our text alone gives us 3 levels of it. And I appreciate that. But I also appreciate that I've been given some tools and an experience to translate or just be able to hold the message up when needed by attraction. So that's what I get to do. I took the job, been there for a while. I found ways to make it really still connect to why I love this and what the three of us share and how what got us sober and or clean, and I'm able to articulate and and just be that message while actually just being able to do things I would do in any situation with a group of people who are looking for a solution of basic questions. But I never push. We don't push. We don't do anything, just like I was taught. And if someone's really on me and they realize my story is a little different, or I've used words comfortably like hopeless until I found something greater, and they say, look, I want to talk about that. I go, hey, my shift's over in 10 minutes when the meeting's over, but I'll stay on. And then I get the opportunity to carry the message as we were all explaining to. So it's like, whoa, this is a win-win. So it helps with the translation, you know, it really helps to translate the stuff.
This app you talk about, can anybody download it?
So Reframe is a for-pay subscription.
Reframe, right?
Yeah, Reframe. They have a few environments that I'm sorry of my own ignorance to it, but I know they've helped a lot of people. And just like we're told, there's people who will stop their usage and their life will get better.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's the beginning. But now I've witnessed being there. And the message is, hey, if you wake up one day and it's not working and you need more, there's so much more out there. And the one thing that we know doesn't work is going back to drinking or drugging. So there's a lot of people there that utilize this app called Reframe, which is way more than just an app. It actually has a lot of brilliant stuff. It does the neuroscience thing that people really need to hear sometimes.
I love neuroscience.
And it's really helpful, right? And because there's no reason to suffer. Just because it's your first day not drinking or drugging anymore, we've already been through the hazing. If we could find more information on like, hey, maybe you need to drink some more water too while you probably need to go to meetings.
Right.
Like, that information wasn't always out there. Or go see a nutritionist, go get a blood test. Like, this is stuff that is not taking away from the potential to have the need for a spiritual awakening or experience, or needing more, like a step program or therapy. So it is, without misrepresenting how they present themselves, from my observation of the world that we come from, it's like all the best you could get from certain aspects of a meeting, but the parking lot after. In their community, they create the warmth and the amount of respect I see people handle themselves with. And it's the fact that environment, it's not necessarily crosstalk. It's the same idea of like no direct advice. But since they do have people in place with some experience, there's a chance for response. And even though the response is still like, I'm responding how I was also cultured, you know, like I'm responding from my own experience and my own story, that gets people, you can't go to a meeting and ask certain questions for good reason, but this place you can. And then it opens people up to looking for more. And there's a lot of people I know there that do a lot of stuff, but they proved to me why coming together works, why the communication within somebody going through something similar works, no matter what it is. And that builds that bond, that foundation. And I really, after being there, like, and the thing is, like, I'm sitting there saying it works for the people that it works for.
Yeah.
And there are people that are going to need more, and they're going to need to, and I have funny ways of saying that stuff. Like, but anything I ever say seems like it resonates with you and you think you need more. Yeah, then that's pretty obvious. Then there's something else out there that we may need. But if everything's going great, it's because you're not alone. So let's just start there.
Yeah. And
I don't, you know, I'm not trying to defend it, because if it ever bothered me, I wouldn't be there. There's nothing to defend. They're not the easier, softer way, because they don't say they're the only way. So it's almost like they're doing, and they're a service. People pay for it, but they get a lot out of it, and that's what they need, and that's what they enjoy. There's all kinds of things like that. People go to be an outpatient, they go to rehab. So this is, and they don't hide
Who
other
cares where
things.
people get straight? Who cares where people get straight?
We got to, you know, if most of our mainstream 12-step fellowships have conventions, you got to pay for the convention. You got to pay, you know, your room and board. You got to pay for your food. You got to pay. Yeah, I mean, your registration fees. I mean, that's so misunderstood. But yeah, you're right. And I want to make sure everybody knows your website address. STATicisnoise.com, correct?
Correct.
STATicisnoise.com is STATIC's web address. Road Recovery, is it roadrecovery.com?
Yeah, look, they have something.org, and I'm not sure if they have an underscore or that's social media. Well, I'm more active on my Instagram, which is also, most of my handles are Static is Noise anyway. I made something positive out of a criticism.
So your Instagram is at Static is Noise?
Yeah, as well as the YouTube channel where I do a lot of healing music now, like 3-hour soundscapes of all those ancient frequencies that they say really hits us. I mean, I love it. It hits me.
Oh, yeah.
That's where you're going.
Let me check Road Recovery.
Yeah.
Roadrecovery.org.
Yeah, roadrecovery.org.
Roadrecovery.org. Okay. .org. Okay, we'll get this stuff linked up on Take 12 Recovery Radio.
Yeah, the website is just Road Recovery. I know the social medias, they got stuck with some kind of underscore or something, but their website's the best thing to hit first anyway. You can find everything else.
Very, very, very cool. Tommy,
I lost my screen. Where are we? Here we are. Sorry.
No, you're there. We're out of time, guys. STATiC, we gotta have him back, right, Tommy?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, we could talk for days on some of the
I
stuff
love it.
that
I
we've
could
done.
be like the Theo Vaughn to your Joe Rogan. Every time they don't have a guest for Rogan, it's like, nah, I know it's more than that. But I'm like, Theo Vaughn's on again? I love him. I love them together, but I guess this is how it works.
Listen, and respecting other people's anonymity that are not on the show today, the truth of the matter is you've rubbed some shoulders with some pretty influential people. I mean, there's a lot of people in the industry that you know, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there are people
Yeah.
I met in that environment which will forever maintain that
Sure.
respect and that thing
Absolutely.
where that's what proves this really works and how beautiful and how it's not us. You know, one quick thing I learned from one of them, and I borrowed it because we celebrate the same week because he made me realize it's the truth. I didn't do any of this. God did. So when I have to say, they go, how'd you do it? And I love his phrasing. I didn't do He's like, God did it. And it's like, you're right. Like, that's it. This is so simple. That's what it is. You know, like I'm an alcoholic and I actually love it because I get this now. I get to join the starting line of life.
Yeah.
Rest of people hit that starting line. I was 50 yards or 100 yards behind it. I didn't have a chance to be a good person because I was so hindered by the bondage of self. So now it's like I could show up in the starting line like everybody else and we could just do good stuff together.
Before we introduce this song Eternally, Tommy, you got closing thoughts, man?
Yeah, I got a lot of closing thoughts. I got
Which
so
are often
many thoughts, I don't know what to
reopening
do with them.
thoughts. They're reopening thoughts often.
Reopening thoughts.
You know, I'm real grateful. You know, I've a real good connection with STATiC, and I'm grateful that he could come today and share this with me. You know, and I'm feeling still excited about moving on. I had a really rough week putting things together because just a lot of things happened that I didn't anticipate. But we're here. We did this, the first one, feeling like it's got to really, keep going. And I'm just loving the opportunity. I'm just loving the opportunity because, I just did a thing about that. What's the difference between opportunity and chance, right? Chance
Oh,
is a
yeah, I love that.
probability.
Chances of probably.
Chance is a probability. Nobody deserves a chance,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Second chance. What are you
I
talking
love that.
about? You want to win? You want to lose? You're not sure. Opportunity is when you have intention.
Yes.
And I love this intention and I love this opportunity.
Mm.
And I see it. We're going to be doing a lot of good things.
Good
That's
deal.
it.
I'm excited too. Okay. STATiC, talk to us about this song we're going to listen to as we close out this first episode of Buddha Time.
So first of all, congratulations on the first episode of Buddha Time, and I'm so glad you guys are together because, Tommy, you need a platform to be you. You've inspired me and many others for a long time, so I love you guys together. And our first episode is on Independence Day, which is so fitting for anybody that's ever struggled with something that we may have and found that freedom. And today I refer to it as the tyrant of alcohol and drugs or whatever that bondage is. The song, so a band it's never like really out of the band. It's a brotherhood, that band. It's just sometimes at certain parts of our lives we can't do the touring anymore. Maybe it's just hard. And I stepped back from full time in 2019, but in 2003 I joined a band called Ours. We were on and off major labels, made a lot of records, and I could talk all about that and what that did, but what it really created was a group of people that we've been so tight, and the band leader living a life in a way that was also teaching me about what I needed eventually to do to live a good life. I watched him have $2 in his pocket and always give that dollar to buy someone else food. And just naturally, he was always in this, like, there for people's service. And then I realized his lyrics, he has this knack of observing and singing out, maybe singing about, but then helping someone else release their pain through song. Not all the songs are self-reflecting. He has that kind of writing gift where he's like the empath writer. And Eternally, And the reason like it blew me away was there's so many songs that I could give you that like my guitar is crushing all over or whatever, but that's not what it's about. For years, I would hear the lyrics, but never over listened because I didn't need to because I was connected to it. And then when he was finding all these other songs we didn't put out, he would send me stuff. He'd say, what do you think of this mix? And listen. And I'm sitting there with this one. I didn't forget the song, but I haven't heard it in 2 years at that point. And I'm like, I think that's me. I'm not sure if I'm playing. It doesn't even matter because his voice is just what I need to listen to. And there's the lyrics. And then he starts singing these words and he's so clear. And then he says, you're not alone. And then I start really, it's not that I never knew the lyrics, but not being there all the time now, I just put it on through my own speakers and I don't actually have the drummer bashing in my ear. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, his messaging is like, it's all there, simple and clear, just like our text is, just like how our text is influenced by other great messaging from other great situations. It's that clear. And it's consistent with, we may go through something, we may fall down, reach out, there's someone there for you. And there's always something bigger than all of us. But then brings it right back to, I got you, you're not alone. And I'm like, So this song Eternally is that one. And I've been borrowing, utilizing some of these songs, even in the environments where I do the peer support group calls with, for self-caring environments.
Right.
Because the messaging is so clear. And I listen to a lot of music, as you can imagine. Listen to a lot of lyrics. And there's a lot of songs that we could all pull into what we need to hear. It's like all good text meets us where we're at the day we read it, and I could be biased because I spent 20 years of my entire life with his guy's voice crushing through my speaker, but it's so clear what he's trying to say. Even the other one I used to promote this podcast, I used one called Stronger. Same thing. It's like, he's not even just holding back, but the same way we are taught in culture to explain things so clearly, right? We carry the message. We don't make it a myth. We don't make it a riddle. So,
right.
Yeah, that's what Eternally means. And the day I heard it the first time again after 2 years, I was in my studio. The two cats walked in, and I just felt like the world gave me a hug.
Wow. That's great. All right. I don't know where Tommy went, but that's okay. Maybe he'll zip back on here in a minute. Here is the song Eternally, the band Hours, and you're playing lead on this?
There's some guitars in there I probably played. It's a lot less about me, but about the spirit of the collective that I'm still a part of to this day, no matter what. We're always a family.
Collaboration that you do so well. All right, folks, check this out, and then we'll be closing out our show. Here's Eternally.
So much lost in suffering, the lights are all fading, shadows begun covering, something's taking hold, it seems there's no escaping. You bury your soul where nobody away from the world, a beautiful masterpiece with your heart strong. You covered it all, but it's okay. We all fall down and we lose our way. I will be with you eternally. I'll follow you into your darkest place, where nobody goes. Isolation brought us peace. Loneliness, it turned to grief. Till all of it caved in. Hard for me to still believe there could ever be a plan with so much hate. You carry your bones to the center of it all. It seems that nobody saw.
a very special thank you to Tommy Buddha for hosting this show. I consider it a privilege to be able to produce this thing. We are really looking forward to more of them. I'm glad you jumped on board with us. A very, very huge hearty gratitude towards STATiC. STATiC, thank you so much for being on the debut show of Buddha Time.
It's an honor to be here.
We'll find Tommy. He went somewhere. I don't know where he went. He's out in the universe someplace.
Let's not forget this. One day at a time.
Yeah, one day.
That's how we do it.
Hey, man. All right, folks, please visit the website staticisnoise.com. And until our next broadcast, this is the Monty Man along with Tommy Buddha and STATiC and the rest of the Take 12 Recovery Radio family. And we are wishing God's perfect serenity for each and every one of you.
This has been a broadcast of Take 12 Recovery Radio and KHLT Recovery Broadcasting.
This has been a Chicken and a Pig production.
Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on.